The night sky above the alien outpost was heavy with clouds, hiding the twin moons. A cold wind whispered through the damaged walls, carrying the smell of burned metal and scorched sand. Ethan knelt beside a workbench, his hands moving over the broken gear with steady precision. The metal armor was unlike anything from Earth, its surface marked with strange glowing patterns that pulsed faintly like veins under skin. Across from him, Lyra sat in silence. Her tall frame was tense, her head tilted slightly as she watched him work. Her eyes were large, silver with a faint blue ring that seemed to shift in the dim light. Ethan had worked with aliens before, but there was something about her gaze that made it impossible to focus completely on his task. The battle earlier had been brutal. They had lost 2 soldiers from the team, and the Cums were still silent. Somewhere beyond the ruined perimeter, enemy drones still moved through the dust, hunting for survivors. Every sound made Ethan's shoulders tighten, but his hands kept moving, tightening screws, adjusting circuits, replacing wires. Lyra finally spoke, her voice low but clear. "Your hands do not shake, even after what happened today." Ethan glanced at her for a moment, then back at the gear. "If my hands shake, your life might end. Can't let that happen." Her lips curved slightly, though it wasn't quite a smile. She leaned forward, watching every movement. The faint hum of the portable repair unit filled the silence between them. Minutes passed. The wind outside shifted, carrying the distant crack of gunfire. Both of them froze for a moment, listening. It was far, but not far enough. Ethan returned to his work, moving faster now. Lyra's voice came again, softer this time. "You humans, you always keep your thoughts hidden, even in war." He didn't answer. He didn't want to get drawn into whatever she was thinking. Not now. Then she asked it. "Do you love me, human?" Ethan's hands stopped mid-motion. For a second, it felt as if every sound in the camp had vanished the wind. The hum of the machine, even the distant noise of battle. He looked up slowly, meeting her eyes. They were unreadable, yet something inside them seemed almost human. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. His mind was caught between confusion and the heavy thump of his heartbeat. This wasn't the kind of question that belonged here, not in the middle of a war zone. Not from someone he had only known for a few missions. Her gaze didn't waver. She was waiting for his answer. Before he could speak, the wind brought a new sound. The sharp, mechanical whine of approaching drones. Multiple units, moving fast. Ethan swore under his breath, shutting down the repair unit and tossing the half-repaired gear toward her. "We need to move, now." Lyra caught it, her movements smooth and controlled. She rose to her feet, tall and imposing in the half-light, even with her armor still damaged. The blue glow in her eyes seemed brighter now. They slipped out of the small workshop, keeping low as they moved through the shadows of the camp. Broken structures loomed around them like jagged teeth. The air was thick with dust, making it hard to see more than a few meters ahead. The sound of the drones grew louder, a mechanical growl mixed with the high-pitched whir of scanning beams. Somewhere behind them, a beam swept across the ground, illuminating shattered walls and twisted debris. Ethan pulled Lyra toward the cover of a collapsed supply crate. They crouched there, breaths slow and quiet. The glow from the drone's lights passed dangerously close, bathing the dust in an eerie red for a moment before moving on. Lyra looked at him in the dimness. "You didn't answer me," Ethan gave her a hard look. "This isn't the time." Her expression didn't change. In war, There is never a right time. Only moments you take or lose. Before he could reply, the drones changed direction. Their engines roared louder, and one of them moved straight toward their hiding place. Ethan's hand went to the sidearm at his belt, but he knew it was useless against this many. He caught Lyra's eye. She didn't look afraid. If anything, she looked ready. The drone's light swept over them bright, blinding for a second. Ethan grabbed her arm, pulling her into a run. The moment they moved, the machine's alarm screamed through the night. Bullets tore through the sand around them, kicking up clouds of dust. The two ran between broken walls, weaving through the maze of ruins. Ethan's lungs burned, his mind racing for a safe place. They dove into the shadow of a half-collapsed bunker, pressing themselves against the wall. The whir of the drones echoed above, their lights searching. Lyra's breathing was steady. She looked at him again, as if the danger around them was nothing compared to the question she had asked. Somewhere above, the drone engines shifted away, chasing another sound. Silence returned, heavy and tense. Ethan let out a slow breath, leaning back against the wall. But his thoughts weren't on the drones anymore. They were on her question, and the way she had asked Itaz if it wasn't just curiosity, but something deeper. He didn't know why it bothered him so much. He didn't know why it mattered, but it did. And he had a feeling he wouldn't be able to avoid answering her for long. The silence didn't last. It never did out here. A faint vibration shivered through the ground beneath Ethan's bootstool, steady to be the wind, too deep to be footsteps. Somewhere close, something heavy was moving. Lyra's head tilted slightly, her sharp hearing catching it before he could. "They're closing in," she said quietly, her voice as calm as if she were commenting on the weather. Ethan checked the charge on his rifle. Low, too low for a prolonged fight. He glanced at her half-repaired armor and frowned. "That gear won't hold if we get hit again." She met his eyes without flinching. "Then we move before they find us." They slipped deeper into the maze of ruins. Each step crunched lightly on the dust and broken glass beneath them. Above, shadows passed across the dim light filtering through cracks in the shattered ceiling. The drones were circling, hunting. Like wolves with mechanical patience. A sudden flash lit the night. A beam of white light cut down from above, searing the air where they had just been. Ethan shoved Lyra forward, his heart hammering as they dove behind a fallen support beam. The beam struck the stone, splitting it with a sharp crack that echoed through the ruins. Before the echo faded, a low mechanical growl rose behind them. Ethan turned and froze. A hunter unit stood in the open corridor, tall and insect-like, its limbs tipped with blades that gleamed under its own red light. Lyra stepped in front of him. Even with her damaged gear, she moved with dangerous precision. "Stay behind me," she said, her voice firm. The hunter lunged. She met it halfway, her fist smashing into its metal head, sending sparks into the air. Ethan raised his rifle, firing at the joints. The machine staggered, screeching in a sound that wasn't quite mechanical. It collapsed, twitching on the ground. Lyra's breathing was steady, but a thin line of dark alien blood ran down her side. Ethan moved to check her wound, but she pushed his hand away. "Later, we keep moving." They slipped through another collapsed wall into a narrow alley of rubble. The air was thicker here, the dust choking. Somewhere far above, the sound of the drones faded only to be replaced by something else. Boots. Multiple pairs. Ethan felt his stomach sink. Not drones. Soldiers. Lyra's gaze hardened. Not mine. not yours. The boots came closer, crunching on stone, voices murmuring in a language Ethan didn't know. They were fast, disciplined, and closing in from both ends. Ethan glanced around, searching for an escape. There was none. Just jagged walls and a single tunnel entrance, a tunnel that looked barely wide enough for one of them. He pointed toward it. That way. Lyra shook her head. Too tight for me with armor. Then drop the armor, he said. For a moment, she hesitated, her silver blue eyes locked on his. Then, without a word, she released the magnetic clasps. The damaged plates fell away, revealing a form that made Ethan blink, not entirely alien, but not human either. Something in between, or something trying to be. He didn't have time to think about it. The soldiers were almost on them. He grabbed her wrist and pulled her toward the tunnel. They squeezed inside, crawling through the darkness. The stones scraped against their arms and knees. The voices outside grew louder, then faded as the tunnel curved downwards. Only when they reached a small, open chamber did they stop. Ethan leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Lyra stood in the dim light, her eyes glowing faintly. You still haven't answered me, she said again. Ethan shook his head. You really think now is the time? Her gaze didn't soften. You might die tonight. I might die tonight. I need to know before that happens. Ethan looked away, but the pounding in his chest wasn't just from the run anymore. He wanted to ask her why it mattered so much, why she would ask him at Albert before he could speak. A metallic clang rang through the tunnel. Something was coming. The metallic clang echoed again, closer this time. Ethan tightened his grip on the rifle. The tunnel's narrow shape made it impossible to move fast. If whatever was coming reached them here, there would be no escape. Lyra stepped forward, placing herself between him and the sound. Her eyes glowed brighter, their faint blue edges almost burning in the dark. The clang turned into a steady scrape, like metal dragging across stone. Then a shape appeared in the shadows, a small reconnaissance drone, its lens glowing red. It scanned the tunnel, pausing when it found them. Ethan raised his weapon, but Lyra's hand shot out, stopping him. No, she said softly. Before he could ask why, she moved with sudden speed, her hand striking the drone's head. Instead of shattering it, she pressed her palm against it. The red lens flickered and turned blue. Ethan stared. You just took control of it. She didn't answer right away. The drone hovered, silent, as if waiting for her command. Then she looked at him, her face unreadable. This drone belongs to my people. It was looking for me. The words hit him like a cold wave. Your people. You mean the same ones who tried to? Yes, she cut in. The same ones who once ruled over humans. The same ones your kind swore never to trust again. Ethan's grip on the rifle tightened. Then why are you here? Why are you helping us? Her gaze didn't falter. Because I'm not here for them. I'm here for you. He blinked, unsure if he heard her right. For me. She stepped closer, her voice low. Your name is on a list, Ethan. A list of humans who are too dangerous to be left alive. You are not just a soldier. You are the one who found the signal they fear. Ethan felt the blood drain from his face. The signal, the one they had intercepted weeks ago, buried deep in the alien network. He thought it was just a coded message about enemy troop movements. Lyra's voice grew even softer. It wasn't troop movements. It was something older, something that could end them. That's why. They want you dead. And that's why I can't let them find you. The blue-lit drone hovered quietly at her side, almost like a loyal animal. Ethan didn't know whether to feel safer or more afraid. "Why tell me this now?" he asked. She held his gaze. "Because if you knew what I really am, you might choose to kill me before I can protect you." Before he could respond, a sharp noise split the air boots, pounding against stone from the other side of the tunnel. The enemy soldiers had found the entrance. Lyra's voice hardened. "Stay close to me, no matter what you see next." She turned to the drone and spoke in her language, a rapid flow of sharp and musical tones. The drone's blue light flared, then shot forward into the darkness. A second later, the tunnel filled with blinding flashes and the screams of enemy soldiers. When the light faded, Lyra stood there, her silhouette outlined against the faint glow. For the first time, Ethan saw the faint, shifting patterns on her. Skin, not armor, not clothing, but something alive, pulsing faintly like the gear she had been wearing earlier. He realized with a shiver her armor hadn't been damaged. It had been part of her. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. The patterns on Lyra's skin shifted slowly, glowing faintly like rivers of liquid light running beneath the surface. In that dim tunnel, she looked less like a soldier and more like something out of an ancient myth, beautiful and dangerous in equal measure. She saw the way he stared at her, but didn't look away. "This is my truth," she said softly. "I am not only one of them. I was made for war, and for deception." Ethan's mind was a storm. "You're telling me everything you've done fighting beside us, saving me, was all part of some plan?" Her voice stayed calm, but there was something raw in her eyes. "At first, yes. I was ordered to stay close to you, to make you trust me, to bring you back to my people when the time came." The weight of her words pressed against him like the cold air in the tunnel. His hands tightened on the rifle, not because he wanted to use it, but because he didn't know what else to hold on to. "So why haven't you done it?" Lyra stepped closer, the faint light in her skin casting ghost-like shadows on the stone. "Because I learned something they didn't expect me to learn." "What's that?" She hesitated for the first time. Her silver blue eyes searched his face, as if she was afraid of what she might see there. "That I can choose, that I can care, that I can love." Before Ethan could answer, a sharp crack echoed down the tunnel. The rock under their feet trembled, and dust rained from the ceiling. An explosion close, too close. A voice hissed in, Ethan's earpiece's own commander. "Ethan, we've tracked you. You're less than 100 meters from the breach point. Get clear, and listen. If the alien is still with you, drop her." Orders with side sight. The words hit him, harder than the blast. His own people were coming for her. Lyra heard the transmission through the faint hum of his earpiece. Her expression didn't change, but her shoulders straightened like someone ready to face an execution. "They'll kill me before you can explain." The air between them was heavy, filled with the low rumble of distant footsteps to groups, converging from different ends of the tunnel. His people from one side, hers from the other. Ethan's mind raced. If he stayed with her, he'd be branded a traitor. If he handed her over, he'd never see the truth of the signal she had mentioned. Lyra looked at him without fear. "You have to decide now, human, me, or them." For a moment, the world seemed to shrink to her glowing eyes and the pounding in his chest. Outside forces didn't matter. Orders didn't matter. The war didn't matter. Only the choice. Then the footsteps grew louder, metal boots striking stone. The tunnel began to glow from both sides, red from her people's drones, white from the flashlights of his soldiers. Ethan raised his rifle butt, not at her. "Stay behind me," he said. The tunnel shook as the two forces closed in his people. From one side, her people from the other. The air was tight, filled with dust and the sharp scent of heated metal. Ethan stood between Lyra and the incoming white beams of his soldiers' flashlights. Their voices carried through the stone. Target spotted. Human male stand down and step away from the alien. From the other side, the low hum of alien drones grew louder. Their red glow crawled along the tunnel walls like rising blood. Lyra's voice was steady, but her words cut deep. "If you fight them, they'll call you traitor. You'll never be able to go back." Ethan didn't answer. His jaw tightened as he adjusted his rifle, aiming at the shadows ahead. "Maybe I don't want to go back." The white beams broke into the chamber, first 3 human soldiers, rifles raised, armor gleaming with dust. "Ethan, last warning, move aside." The red glow reached him almost at the same time. 2 alien drones floated in, blades extended, the air vibrating with their engines. For a breathless second, everyone froze, staring across the narrow space. Then it all broke at once. A flash of light, a deafening shot. Someone screamed. Ethan felt the impact before he heard the sound-hot pain tearing across his side as the force knocked him against the wall. His vision blurred, the tunnel spinning. Around him, through the haze, he saw Lyra step forward, not away from him, but in front of him, her body catching the next burst of gunfire. Her glowing patterns flared bright like fire, pulsing with strange energy. The bullets didn't tear through her. They melted into her skin and vanished. The soldiers froze in shock. The drones hissed. Lyra turned her head just enough to look at him. Dust swirled between them, her eyes fierce and unblinking. "You asked why I stayed, human. This is why." Before he could answer, she moved fast enough that his eyes couldn't follow straight toward the soldiers. The drones surged forward from the other side. The tunnel exploded into chaos, light and shadows colliding. Ethan tried to move, to follow, but his legs gave way. The world narrowed to the sound of her voice somewhere in the fight, shouting something in her language, and then silence. Through the dust, a single figure emerged. He couldn't tell if it was her or one of the soldiers. And then everything went black.